So it's funny when I tell people this because as unconventional as it was, my formal introduction to occultism in my extreme youth was the combination of probably two of the more controversial books in each of its fields. 21 Lessons of Merlyn by Douglas Monroe being one, and the Necronomicon of Simons being the other. So, I was in my youth. Of course, the familiar paperback. That this is actually, I'm in my teens now of copies I've purchased of this in paperback form. Was actually pleased to get my hardcover several months ago. So, some people are like, so what? And he wrote a bunch of, or rather, he's got a bunch of YouTube videos up on the Necronomicon, right? And so, I don't know, he posts something about a podcast, which are their most viewed videos, the Tracy Fine and Peter Levinda podcast. So, why, right? I mean, take the Marduk aside, and Babylonian and mysticism, magic. So it's no great secret, and I've talked about this on another channel, but a lot of our subscribers here aren't familiar as much with when we first came online last year, and we've definitely weeded out a bit as far as our people and whatnot. We've lost as many subscribers as we currently have right now, just to give you a frame of reference. So when I was writing as Merlyn Stone as a young teenager, I had several books that I wrote. I was kind of outlining traditions of magic and things that I was going to be presenting later, and self-published quite a bit. By the time I was 18, I had 2,000 books in print under the name Merlyn Stone that I had self-published, and some of those people are actually starting to come out of the woodwork now, which is kind of cool. So there's this little rotten book that came out. It's called Necronomicon Files, and it's interesting because, in time I'll probably be doing something more with the Necronomicon. I'll be able to address my spiel a little bit more clearly there, but in Dead Names, it's falling all over the place. In Dead Names, a good third of this book is really his response to Daniel Harms and John Wisdom Gaunt's in their work. Now, I would like to explain first and foremost, before getting into this, that in this time period I have been able to communicate yet again. See, I was communicating briefly with Daniel Harms when he was researching for this book back in, I think, like 2000. I don't know. He has the exact date in emails. I don't even have them anymore. I've talked to him since then, being back online. And his analysis was crude but fair. John Wisdom Gaunt's, on the other hand, oh man. So firstly, what is it that Daniel Harms had to say? And this was, I was in high school actually, sitting in the high school library on their computer, teenager, and communicating with this guy who, I had only put out actually 50 copies of this thin book that we called the Necronomicon, and it really wasn't meant to be taken as seriously as I think they took it, but it didn't matter. It was like the fourth book that we had put out that in that series, the first being the Sorcerer's Handbook, but he goes on to say, Merlyn Stone is a precocious young wizard who self-published 4 instructional manuals on modern sorcery while Stone is teens. The fourth of these is Stone's own version of the Necronomicon, a small paper-bound pamphlet with a green cover, issued in 1999. So this would have been, I think this was issued when I was a junior, actually, in high school. This was our fourth book. The book's subtitle is a compendium of ceremonial magic, and it strives mightily to live up to it. The first magical operation given within is a protective rite, the opening of the watchtowers, followed by instructions for calling up spirits. We are then treated to lists of these spirits, a few from a number of medieval grimoires, plus some from the Simon Necronomicon. The book goes on to include sundry rites of ceremonial magic, a description of the Black Mass, a brief explanation of the Kabbalah, and a question and answer page regarding the author's other works. In all, the book contains material from Jewish mysticism, medieval books of black magic, Satanism, Druidic practice, and the Simon book, all assembled under one cover. This book is confusing on several points. It is uncertain whether the book was issued by Sacred Grove or Crystal Dawn Press. Both are listed as publishers at different points, and actually, after that, we went on to add another one, Purple Earth Press. We were always trying to maintain our anonymity by just keeping different names. In the introduction, Stone tells us that the Necronomicon is merely an archetypal symbol. Later, he states that Crowley saw a copy, and that the original, wherever it is, has been carbon dated to 6000 BC. Even having asked the author for clarification, I am still baffled to his sources for these statements. Further, the work's stated purpose is that these rights and knowledge within not be lost to the overly political organizations, greedy companies, and the like. This sentiment is admirable, and would be even more so if most of the material had not been available for decades in paperback. Stone has since explained that the book served to bring together materials he didn't have room for in his other works, which makes more sense to me. This examples typify a phenomenon that's likely to grow in years to come, the writing of Necronomicons not for money or fame, but for an occultist desire to make his or her own version of the book tangible, which was essentially what we were doing. And it just so happened that the 50 copies we made, they were gone like that, and I don't actually even still possess. I have the galley proofs to make more, but that's how quickly they actually disappeared, and we were just using a small distributor at the time. But apparently one of the 50 books ended up on this guy's desk and became the subject of a page in his book.